Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. I've got so much to say today, I've got so much to talk about. But I'm going to start with a big shout out to the Chelsea and Westminster Physio team. I had my last physio session today and they're just awesome. They are so awesome. I don't know whether they'll be listening. Obviously, I try and plug my podcast wherever I go. But if you are listening, you're amazing. You know who you are. You're absolutely amazing. I just have had such a good result with my knee. Obviously, I'm sure the surgeon had a bit to do with it, but, largely it's down to the physio team. On the way home was interesting, actually, because I caught the bus home and I was talking to this lady at the bus stop and she had this little white dog. He was a bit like a Westie, but he wasn't a Westie, I don't think. Anyway, you get the gist of what he was like, called Max. And he was just so, so chilled, just standing there watching the world go by. And then a guy came along and got on the bus and sort of pushed in front of this lady and then started having a go at her, saying that her dog was bumping into the back of him, and he really wasn't. And this little dog was just so unbelievably chilled. She sat down and this man is just yelling, going, "Control your dog." And everybody's like looking at this little thing who was totally oblivious to the whole thing. So that was amusing, but obviously not very nice for the lady concerned. But I can tell you now, Max was not misbehaving. He was a very good dog indeed. On Monday, I did my comedy course with Jamie Jackson, and we had a good old chat afterwards, actually. He mentioned it too on his podcast, The Evening Almanac. But we had a very good chat about comedy. So he'd had a bit of a rough gig, which we all do. I mean, I seem to have had more than my fair share lately, but that's another issue. And, you go through that period where you're questioning why you're there, what you're doing. But I hope that he feels a lot better, not because of me, but I hope he feels a lot better because I think, time, event plus time equals getting over it. Something like that. I just made that up, but you know what I mean. And also we had a great time on Monday. So we actually worked together because we haven't worked together in years. And we had to do, it was sitcoms. And I was Miranda. Now, I don't like Miranda, I'll be honest. For those of you that don't know, it's a sitcom based in the UK, and she's a very sort of large lady, basically a bumbling middle-aged woman with an obsession for fart gags, which, speaking as a bumbling middle-aged woman with wind issues, I find it quite offensive, find it quite triggering, that's it. Anyway, I did the best I could, but the script, I was just really going for it, feeling I am totally overacting. And I've never really watched Miranda. I mean, I know who she is, but people assured me that is what she does. And yeah, when I write my sitcom, because I do have an idea for a sitcom, it's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be far more, a bit like Max, far more serene. So that's Monday. Tuesday, I had my animation course, but I'm not going to say too much about that because I am going to try and vlog the entire course. I'm obviously a little bit behind because this was week 2, but I'm going to try and get something out over the weekend, certainly by Monday. And my little animation that I did in the classroom, you can get to see that because I took it home. Completely overexposed, but hey, I'll talk about that in the vlog. Last night I went to Drury Lane to see Frozen with my mum and her friends. So she booked the tickets and it was really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Surrounded by little girls of about, 8 years old who were singing away and just having a great old time. And it was just lovely. It really was. It also made me laugh. There were 2 digs at Harry in it. There was one guy who, I can't remember the scene, but they said to him, something about, blah, 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 man. He said, "I am not a man, I am a duke." And I thought, well, that's a bit of a dig at Harry. And then later on, or earlier on, actually, I think that was earlier on, the sister, I'm not completely up on the story, I'll be honest, but the sister turned around and said, "Yes, I'm the spare." And then said something like, "But I'm not complaining." Which, of course, all the adults in the theatre just fell about laughing. But if you're in London, I highly recommend you go and see it. Although, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, don't sit too near the front because you get utterly covered in confetti at the end. I actually can see it on the carpet now. It's everywhere. I keep picking this stuff up. just because it was snow, basically white confetti. And also when I got home, I hadn't realised that the hood of my hoodie had completely filled up. So it was just everywhere, but good fun nevertheless. And the only other bit, well, comedy news, got to move on to some comedy news. I've signed up for a Logan Murray course. This is to improve your performance, and that starts in November. And then I'm off out soon to Hitching. A comedy friend, so I don't know him hugely well, but I know him on the circuit, asked me if I would do, I think he wants me to do 10 minutes. So I'll give it a go, but that's in Hitchin. Much love and gratitude.